President Barajaglia has arrived in Athens, Greece, and met with Greece's president to discuss a number of areas of cooperation between the two countries.
The Guyana Sugar Corporation's top brass has been charged to adapt to changes in the weather and reconsider its mode of operations.
And Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Agriculture Ministry, Brian Grinnett, says Oxfam International's situation report on flooding is incomplete and inaccurate.
The details of these and other stories, the diamond, mineral water, and sport news and more in tonight's news. Hello, good evening. I am Janelle Prasad.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Thursday, January 15, 2009. Here's what's happening. Paul.
Thanks, Janelle. President Barajaglia has arrived in Athens, Greece, and met with Greek President Carlos Papoilos to discuss a number of areas of cooperation between the two countries. The Guyanese leader arrived in Athens yesterday and immediately met with his Greek counterpart at the Presidential Hall to commence their cooperation talks. Edward Lane reports.
President Barajaglia and delegation will spend the next 3 days in Greece meeting with investors, bankers and other government officials to discuss a number of areas of cooperation and to secure possible investments for Guyana and other CARICOM countries. The first round of discussions between President Jagdeo and his Greek counterpart focused on strengthening trading between the two countries. The Guyanese leader will also be meeting with bankers and investors during the visit. He'll be marketing Guyana investment opportunities and will be looking at how the two countries can work together. With Greece being a country with heavy emphasis on science and technology, the Guyanese leader is looking to gather assistance from that country, especially in these areas. The president during his first meeting also pushed Guyana and the Caribbean's tourism potential and suggested that Greece work closely with the Caribbean in this area. The country's income is mainly determined by the exports of agricultural products like tobacco and dried fruits, but also depends heavily on tourism and its shipping industry. The Guyanese leader and delegation will wrap up their visit to that country on Saturday following a meeting with Greek Prime Minister Kostas Karamanli. Following this, the delegation includes the Tourism and Foreign Affairs Minister and President of the CIOG will travel to Qatar to continue their cooperation talks. The team already visited Libya where they held cooperation discussions with government officials, bankers and investors between Guyana and the Northern African country. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad says Gaisuku will have to adapt to changes in the weather and reconsider its mode of operations. The call comes as the company moves to overcome challenges and become more viable in the wake of drastic top management changes. More of this report.
Gaisuku will have to adapt to adverse weather changes by reviewing its cropping patterns and utilizing new techniques. This is according to Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad, who notes that opportunity days have been declining consistently, affecting cane quality and sucrose level.
Because of the reduction in the opportunity days, it has had to engage in a 24-hour operation in terms of planting, utilizing floodlights, working around the clock, because you now had to do the same amount or even greater tilling in half or 75% of the traditional amount of time you've had available. So it is about the company making changes, adjustments, and adapting to these new realities.
As part of Gaisuku's strategic business plan, Minister Prasad says the company is seeking to mechanize its operations, but assures that the workforce will not be affected.
There are opportunities and will be opportunities. Take, for instance, the packaging plant. Take, for instance, the long-term plan of going forward with a refinery. There will be opportunities for those persons who may want to be retrained, and in fact, the company, the corporation in going forward will have to develop those type of tools and management arrangements in retraining and retooling its employees.
This plan is also expected to help cut costs and assist in the development of feasible long-term strategies for the sugar industry. Funding and support services for private cane farmers are also being assessed, since they will be brought on board to provide 25 to 40% of the 1.1 million tons of cane required for the Skeldon Sugar Factory. Gaisuku is currently hoping to churn out around 290,000 tons of cane this year. However, Minister Prasad says factors such as weather will have to be taken into consideration. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Charlotte Love.
Some schools ended early today as the heavy rainfall caused flooding in the city, and many residents say they're fed up with the situation. Here's more.
Residents in the South Rheinveld area say they are fed up with the constant flooding in the area and is wondering what the Georgetown City Council is doing to arrest the situation. Some schools around Georgetown were flooded and many of them ended early. South Rheinveld and the Wortmanville Work-in-Rust area are among the most hard hit. Residents of both South and North Rheinveld have continually been complaining about the poor state of drainage there. They have also lamented the inactivity on the part of City Hall as it relates to clearing drains there. The St. Agnes Primary School only reopened on Tuesday, 1 week after the official reopening of school due to water accumulation was again flooded. NCN visited the school today and the water again rose in the school's compound. When NCN visited the other parts of the city, most areas were flooded. One business owner voiced his concern about the situation and added that all the drains on Regent Street are clogged and nothing is seemingly being done. While another business owner says her business may be closed for the rest of the week if the rains continue. Drainage in the city has been a major problem for both the City Council and the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, prompting calls for change at City Hall. On the other hand, the council has been urging all residents to desist from dumping garbage into drains and canals and to dispose of their garbage in a proper manner. Reporting for the NCN 6 o'clock news, I am Adeli Rampersad.
The Caribbean Court of Justice will deliver the judgment next Thursday, January 22, on the case of Trinidad Cement Limited versus the Government of Guyana. After more than 3.5 years since its establishment, the court will hand down its first decision under its original jurisdiction. Trinidad Cement Limited is seeking millions of dollars in damages, saying that the government failed to impose the common external tax from cement imported from outside the region. Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Agriculture Ministry, Brian Greenwich, says Oxfam International's situation report on flooding is incomplete and inaccurate. He says it fails to consider interventions taken to assist those affected by the heavy rainfall. More in this report.
A recent report by Oxfam International claims that there has been weak coordination on the ground to tackle instances of flooding in the various regions. The report alleges that the Civil Defense Commission failed to craft a proper response and questioned its collaboration with other agencies. However, Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Agriculture Ministry and head of the Task Force to Aid Farmers, Brian Greenwich, says the report is not comprehensive and fails to recognize actions taken to alleviate the situation. Greenwich notes that the NDIA and MMA and ADA authorities have been working with local government bodies to drain low-lying areas of accumulated water. Prior to the rainy season, he says the NDIA also completed several projects which have managed to facilitate quick removal of water. To this end, the Deputy Permanent Secretary has questioned Oxfam's knowledge about the reality on the ground. Several teams were deployed to provide technical assistance and compile a database of persons affected by the heavy rainfall, while the CDC partnered with stakeholder agencies to exchange information and implement necessary strategies. Mr. Greenwich says the report discounts these efforts and believes that the objective is questionable given its inaccurate and incomplete conclusions. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.
20-year-old Angela Ridley has been reported missing after she left her Lot 3B North Road home on Monday, January 13, around 8 hours for her place of employment at Trini's Grocery in the Border Market. Her brother Michael, with whom she resides, says Angela was last seen wearing a blue jeans and a dark-colored blouse. He noted that after he awoke the following morning, he did not see Angela, so decided to call and ask where she was and why she did not return home the previous night. He said that when he finally got through to her, she sounded scared, saying that she could not pronounce on her location, but she was okay, and that was the last time he heard from his sister. The police are currently investigating the matter along with Angela's family members.